Hello, I'm Tamsin, and welcome back to English Sound Building, the advanced pronunciation podcast where you do the work to build muscle memory, and master new sounds. As always, remember that successful communication is possible in any one of the thousands of global English accents, and there is no ideal. We're here to have fun playing with sound. If you find it useful to read as you listen, you can find a script for this podcast on my Patreon page. That's www.patreon.com/EnglishBrickByBrick. The link's in the episode notes. Everything is free on there. Just scroll down on the main page. I am a one-person team writing, recording, and editing these in my free time, though. So if you like what I do and you are able to support me, please do. Thank you so much to those of you who already are. So this week, as promised, we're picking back up on the V sound from earlier on this season, and we're adding the voiceless F. In the W and V episode, I described V as a fricative sound, where the upper teeth against the lower lip provide friction and make the V sound, where the vocal cords are vibrated. Do go back and listen to that one if you need to. The F sound is exactly the same, but is unvoiced. So where we vibrate the vocal cords to make V, we simply turn those vocal cords off, still push the air through, and we get the F sound. And here again, we then come back to a voiced and voiceless pair contrast. And if you've struggled with some of these before, it'll be interesting to notice if you find this contrast with F and V easier or more difficult. And as with those previous sounds, the biggest difficulty I notice my students having here is a tendency to devoice those V sounds, particularly towards the ends of words. And if you also found that W and V contrast tricky earlier this season, you may find some of the same problems here with the V words in particular. So let's get started by looking at just a few common words with the F sound. Listen and repeat. Afraid. Before. Cafe. Different. Elephant. Family. Favorite. Find. Food. Friend. Left. Life. Office. Photo. Phrase. Traffic. Well done, and we'll read them again in groups of 4. Afraid, before, cafe, different. Elephant, family, favorite, find. Food, friend, left, life. Office, photo, phrase, traffic. Well done. In terms of spelling, you'll have noticed that this is pretty straightforward. The letter F, either single or double, represents most of those F sounds, although don't forget that the PH combination can also make the F sound, like in elephant, photo, phrase, and so on. Okay, we'll move on to looking at some common words with V. Now, we did look at a lot of these in our W and V episodes, so we'll go with some slightly higher level ones today. And again, we'll just do 16 to get you warmed up. Listen and repeat. Achieve. Available. Civil. Comprehensive. Controversy. Equivalent. Incentive. Individual. Innovate. Intervene. Motive. Objective. Relevant. Revolution. Survive. Valid. And again in groups of 4. Achieve, available, civil, comprehensive. Controversy, equivalent, incentive, individual. innovate, intervene, motive, objective. Relevant, revolution, survive, valid. Okay, now to really feel that contrast, let's move on to some minimal pairs with f and v. And as often happens, we have had to go into some slightly obscure vocabulary for some of these, so do get your dictionaries if you need to. Let's start by looking at some minimal pairs with f and v at the beginning of words. We'll read the first three together. Listen and repeat. Fan, van. Feel, veal. Fine, vine. Well done. Now I will read three f words. See if you can read the v word as well. We'll do the first one together as an example. Fail. So you should have repeated fail, veil. Number two, fat. Number three, fault. Listen, repeat, and check how you did. Fail, veil. Fat, vat. Fault, vault. Excellent. I will now read three v words. See if you can read the f word as well. Number one, vast. Number two, view. And number three, vole. Okay, now listen, repeat, and check how you did. Vast, fast. View, few. Vole, foal. Okay, now let's move on to some minimal pairs where the f and v sounds appear at the end of the word. And as with previous voiceless and voiced pairs, you'll notice that the vowel sound is slightly elongated before the voiced sound. Try to ensure you do this in your own pronunciation too. It does make a difference to how easily your listener will grasp what you're saying. Of course, the other thing to remember wherever we look at these voiced sounds at the end of the words is that you will hear some devoicing of the sound as I switch my vocal cords off before my lips, teeth, mouth finish making the sound. But it's important that you are voicing it initially. Again, we'll read the first two together. Leaf, leave. Calf, carve. Okay, now I will read three f words. See if you can repeat the v word as well. Number one, off. Number two, half. And number three, grief. Listen, repeat, and see how you did. Off, of. Off, of. Half, halve. Grief, grieve. And you'll have noticed with those last two that, as we've seen with other voiceless and voice pairs, the voiced sound is often coming through in the verb and the voiceless sound in an adjective or noun form. So grief, for example, as compared to the verb grieve. Okay, I'm now going to read three words with v sounds. See if you can read the f word as well. Number one, save. Number two, prove. And number 3, serve. And again, listen, repeat, and see how you did. Save, safe. Prove, proof. Serve, surf. And now we're going to move on to thinking about just a few words with both f and v sounds. It will really challenge the muscles in your mouth to move quickly between the two. We have them in both orders. It'll be interesting to hear from you which you find easier, which you find more tricky. Listen and repeat. Effective. Favorite. Fever. Fishwives. 5. Flavor. Flyover. Hoverfly. Foxgloves. Overqualified. Unforgivably. Verify. And again in groups of 4. Effective, favorite, fever, fishwives. 5. Flavor, flyover, hoverfly. Foxgloves, overqualified, unforgivably, verify. Excellent. And to finish, we're going to have a go at just 3 sentences with some of those words. We'll start shorter and get longer. And as always, it would be an excellent idea to take some time with the script and to see if you can come up with any more. Sentence number 1. 5 fewer feverish fishwives. 5 fewer feverish fishwives. 5 fewer feverish fishwives. Sentence 2. A hoverfly flew over foxgloves. A hoverfly flew over foxgloves. A hoverfly flew over foxgloves. And sentence 3. We found evidence of an equivalent family controversy. We found evidence of an equivalent family controversy. We found evidence of an equivalent family controversy. Well, I found the first 2 of those in particular really tricky. Do let me know how you got on. Well done. That is the end of this week's workout. Don't forget to practice as often as possible to build muscle and muscle memory, speeding the podcast up or slowing it down as you need to. If you are new here and you would like to follow me on social media, come find me on Instagram or Facebook at English Brick by Brick. I'm not super active on there at the moment, but I am posting a couple of times a week. There are loads of old posts you can look back over for some advanced English help. And I love reading your messages on there, so please do feel free to contact me. Of course, you will also find me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/EnglishBrickByBrick. So I'll be back next week with the final episode of season 2, in which we are going to review all of the sounds we've looked at this season. And we're going to do that by looking at some tongue twisters and rhymes. It will be a bit more of a challenge, but also a lot of fun. And we'll review some of the techniques that we spoke about at the end of season 1 there as well. Enjoy sound building, and I'll see you then.